A very good evening. Thank you for joining us for the 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight, this 30th day of November 2023, which actually marks the last day of the month of November, joining into December. Thank you very much. My name is Wadulo, Arnold, and without further ado, let's take a look at the headlines. In our top stories tonight, President Museveni guides Uganda Investment Authority on approval of investors. Prime Minister Nabanja lauds UN agencies for supporting Uganda's development journey. And 20 tons of food rot in OPM stores as mess is blamed on the IGG. And in sports, Uganda's cricket cranes qualifiers for World Cup for the first time ever. Thank you for joining us. We'll now give you the news in detail. To start off, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has tasked the Uganda Investment Authority to take keen interest while assessing investors before registering them during the inaugural Presidential Investors Conference. President Museveni underscored the need to first assess investors and creation of an easy linkage for all potential investors. Let's have a detailed report with Susan Nawonga.
Have a lot of need for us to explain the issues of taxes.
Uganda Investment Authority is the government agency mandated with promoting, facilitating investments and also assessing of potential investors. Apart from other documentations, the assessment also taken in consideration by the authority for domestic companies is a minimum threshold of $50,000, while foreign investors must exhibit a commitment of at least $250,000.
There are outsiders who have money there, but they are looking for opportunities here. Opportunities are what? Number one, raw materials. Number two, affordable labor. Number three, the market, this market here. So, what examples of FDI do we have here? Foreign direct investment.
During the inaugural Presidential Investors Conference, both domestic and foreign investors got a chance to interact with the President.
Spoke of land in Namamvi. I thought that it's important for the investors to inform you that there is a lot of chaos when it comes to allocation and withdrawal of land in Namamvi. This particular investor is facing that problem right now, where we have people in Namamvi who have personalized their offices and have taken over the functions of bodies in the body, and when they do that, they withdraw the land without following procedures. I believe, Your Excellency...
I would like you come, I want to get that information. You come and talk to one of my people.
And then you gave me land, I found it was water. I used 100 million to feed the water. Then it started encouraged by big people. Hannah helped me to get it back. I had to put a perimeter wall, so all the money went in that.
In the interaction, different investors cited their different challenges, among which included double taxation, bureaucracy, poor infrastructure like roads, electricity supply, and the costs. This was not limited to lack of market to absorb all their products amidst the competition from imports.
Harvesting problems with our farmers.
Okay.
We ask the government to sensitize our farmers, because I was doing it myself before COVID.
The food gets spoiled.
The food gets spoiled and they don't know, seriously, they don't know what to do.
President Yoweri Museveni tasked Uganda Investment Authority to take keen interest to assessing investors before registering them.
The what?
They get registered as companies, they get investment license, and then they go ahead and do the work.
They get registered where?
URSB, Uganda Registration Service Bureau. So they get all those certificates under the one-stop center.
Of UIA?
Under Uganda Investment Authority, Your Excellency.
He He also tasked the authority to create a clear and easy linkage for investors.
Esente ekizibu nkwatagana. N'olwekyo njagala kukomenkereza olwaleero with a clearer nkwatagana.
Uganda is one of the countries with the most open terms and system of investment.
The Office of the Prime Minister, in partnership with the UN Independent System-Wide Evaluation Mechanism, is set to conduct a joint evaluation of the UN system in Uganda. The modalities for the joint evaluation were discussed in a seminar that took place at Mestil Hotel in Kampala. It was presided over by the Prime Minister, Robina Nabbanja, and details in the story.
The joint evaluation is aimed at providing evidence of the UN agency's contribution to Uganda's development agenda. The Prime Minister acknowledged the contribution of the UN system in Uganda to improve the living conditions of Ugandans through the Global Development Framework.
This seminar provides a timely platform for our reflection on the relevance and effectiveness of the various systems, development efforts and cooperation arrangements that the United Nations and its agencies have undertaken in Uganda over the time. The reflection on both the government and the UN interventions in the country is critical because, one, assessing progress and identifying areas for improvement, because we need to identify those areas that need improvement. These interventions are also critical for enhancing accountability and transparency. Number three, for strengthening partnerships between the UN systems, the government of Uganda, and non-state actors.
The UN resident coordinator, Susan Namondo, pledged continued commitment to partner with the Uganda government to support the development effort.
I think the two key ones for me, I mean, they're all important, of course, but government ownership is key. We do not have our own plans. We buy into a government plan. And in fact, the naming of our key instrument now reflects that. We went from the UN Development Assistance Framework to now the UN Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. We don't have a plan. So one of the strategic advantages of this evaluation is that it's not just giving us information about the UN, it's giving us information about this, the broader development frame.
Participants included representatives from the key government ministries, UN agencies, academia, and the civil society.
This relationship should be guided by strong country ownership, and that country ownership is determined by the quality of the plan. The plans we have in place, the manifestos, and the directives that come from His Excellency the President. If we have a clear country ownership, then the direction of the partners is also very clear, because those require that they respect and work within our plan.
The continued collaboration between the Uganda government and the UN agencies is required to support the country's development agenda. Doreen Nasasra.
President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has revealed that most of the problems affecting Ugandans are caused by leaders. Now, according to the president, the leaders are transparent. If they are transparent, many problems affecting the citizens would not be in existence. The president made these remarks today during the 4th anniversary celebrations of the Almighty Papa Elohim Church in Anyara, Kalachi district. The church, which was officially opened in 2019 by President Museveni, is headed by the Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, Lieutenant General Peter Elwelu. President Museveni noted that ordinary people have their own problems like witchcraft, but if leaders are straight and clear, all issues would be addressed. He therefore commended Lieutenant General Eluelu for the interesting pillars in his religious efforts that involve ordinary people praying for their leaders for the revival of salvation. The president also urged the people of Teso to fight poverty and create wealth through commercial agriculture like grazing cows, fruit farming, mainly mangoes and oranges, then cassava, both for home consumption and selling, fishing and poultry. The Vice President further thanked Lieutenant General Eluelu for inviting them together as leaders on locals to interact with God before urging everyone to always pray because prayers transcend all other powers. Lieutenant General Eluelu thanked President Museveni for coming to pray with the people as they commemorated the 4 years since the House of Almighty Elohim was established. Lieutenant General Eluelu told the President that the House of Almighty Elohim is the home where he is welcome anytime he wants to come.
Worship for everybody. Come and worship. He's here and he's with us always. And this place, Your Excellency, is your house with him. Because on top of that house, it is his name. And then below there is inscribed your name.
I would like also to assure the people of Teso that in the areas which require further intervention from government, especially in service delivery, we, the leaders of this region, will continue pursuing, together with His Excellency the President, who we know has always listened to our voice, and we are sure that step by step we will continue responding to the remaining challenges that we know we have as a region.
When we formed this third line or fourth line away from DP, which was for the Catholics, UPC for the Protestants and some Muslims, Kawaka Yeka for the Baganda, we said no. For us, we are not after politics of identity. We are after politics of interests. What can help the people? That's how. So I find what General is saying interesting. Then his innovation that the wananchi should pray for the leaders. And the leaders were so many, they were almost as many as the people themselves. Is that all the problems are caused by the leaders. The corruption, the sectarianism, all of them are done mainly by the leaders. So that's very interesting. You should not. It's me. I found it very interesting because I know that's a fact. If the leaders are straight, so many problems will be solved. Yes, the people may have their own problems. They may have their own witchcraft and so on. But if the leaders are clear, even the other issues will be addressed.
Over 20 tons of food meant for vulnerable and disaster-prone people is getting rotten in the OPM stores at Namave. According to OPM stores manager Mujisha, this was caused by the failure to access the stores for 1 year since the investigators cordoned off the stores during the Karamoja iron sheet saga. Now, while inspecting the stores, the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja condemned the incident and pledged to forward the matter to Cabinet. More details in this report.
And two, I have also seen many tons of food getting wasted in the store. And I'm told this was because the investigators closed the stores with that food. until when some of it expired. We cannot, it's not good for human consumption. So the office of the Prime Minister has made a big loss in all of this. And so we shall communicate to Cabinet and see how we can handle this. As I speak now, the people of Karamoja want food. And many other disasters have happened across the country and people want food. But in the store, the food we have is not fit for human consumption.
20 metric tons of food, of maize flour, and 7.8 of beans. That's worth billions of shillings. It is very sad to see that our people there need food, and that's a lot of money. That food could serve them for another 2-3 months, but it's going to waste. It is rotten because the stores are being locked because of the ongoing investigation. You see the damage that the people who made the distribution of iron sheets has brought to the country. It has indirectly even led to the loss of too much food in the stores, worth billions of shillings.
The Ministry of Information, Communication Technology and National Guidance is improving technology and working with Uganda Communications Commission to come up with a mechanism to start blocking misinformation disseminated by citizen journalists on social media platforms. Now, while officiating at the annual members' meeting for Rural Broadcasters Association in Kampala, on behalf of the First Lady Janet Museveni, State Minister for ICT Godfrey Kabyanga urged the Media Council to intensify trainings, attributing the misinformation to untrained journalists. A detailed report is here.
Rural Broadcasters Association is a professional body that represents all upcountry private sector print, online and electronic broadcasting media houses in Uganda, and it is affiliated to National Association of Broadcasters NAB, partners with Uganda Broadcasting Corporation.
We are all here as partners and seeing how we can make sure that not only rural broadcasters, but all of us in the sector thrive and make this country proud.
This association has 186 radio stations, 8 television stations, 2 newspapers and over 10 online media. They have held the first annual members meeting and asked government to ensure that all radios benefit from the money for advertising. The chairman, Roba Tumusime Julius, said these stations upcountry only work to pay workers and their monthly earnings 5 million shillings, emphasizing that the problem with rural media is sustainability.
These radios, you know how we get business. Now, the new URA requires you when you get an invoice. When you invoice any business, immediately they start charging you. They assume that when you invoice, you are paid. So, you know, media, you take like a month when you are not yet paid.
The media industry is faced with the challenge of misinformation attributed to bloggers, the unlicensed individuals, which the National Association of Broadcasters say Uganda Communications Commission has failed to control. Accordingly, there seems to be no business in the traditional media space, with a big number of radio stations and television stations not making headway. The chairman, National Association of Broadcasters, Kim Kalisa, advises broadcasters to train staff, give deeper information, invest in finding facts, and regional media houses to enrich their content with information from other regions.
Make sure the presenters, the people who work on your radios, read, train, and they don't need serious trainers.
Now government has revealed plans of coming up with mechanisms to block misinformation.
Trying to work with UCC to see whether we can improve our technology.
NAB has also expressed a concern that Signet plans under Uganda Broadcasting Corporation are not funded for the last 8 years.
The appropriation of the money. But we have already identified the money. Cabinet has already agreed. We need $1 million US to clear those issues, and then Signet will now operate normally.
First Lady, in her message delivered by the State Minister for ICT Godfrey Kabyanga, urged rural media houses to consider giving participatory programming more emphasis and Uganda media to shift from focusing on sensational reporting to solution-based reporting. I'm Nafka Farida and Sana Anet in Kampala.
Now, the increasing new HIV infections among adolescent girls and young women is threatening the strides made in the fight against HIV and AIDS. According to the annual AIDS Review Report 2022-23 by the Uganda AIDS Commission, young people between the age group of 15 to 24 years account for 36% of new HIV infections.
It is worth noting that Uganda has made important strides in the fight against HIV/AIDS since the early 1980s. However, according to the annual AIDS Review Report of 2022-2023 by the Uganda AIDS Commission, there is a worrying trend where young people, especially girls and women, are contributing the highest percentage of new HIV infections, an issue that is raising questions like, what has gone wrong?
It's information. Not everybody, we are not at the same level of information, and also never letting your guard down, you know. So we should not relent about transmitting information all the time, because we have population pockets. So the biggest information gap is amongst young people. The older people, those of us, people who are in 40s and above, they saw a bit of the difficult AIDS and so on. The young people didn't see that. So they hear this as a story. And so we need to continue to say, this thing is here, it doesn't have cure, there's treatment, but you have to swallow medicines every day. It's a huge task to swallow medicine every day. So information is the biggest challenge. And that's why it has to be everybody's responsibility. Tell someone, tell your neighbor that this is still a problem.
But parents have totally left the children to grow on their own. They don't talk to them, they don't help them grow up because they think it will be taught in school. But even schools have a limit. So the parents need to go back and speak to their children and stop these early marriages and HIV infections among young people.
Young girls do not have enough female-centered tools. In this, I mean, we need to look at tools that a woman can use secretly by herself, right? When you're protecting yourself, you shouldn't base it on whether your partner is faithful, whether your partner has used a condom. You as a woman, you should be able to have that power, right? So those tools are very few. However, we have had a few that have come on the market. We've talked about the deep vaginal, we've talked about the Kabele injection, they've mentioned it, our government has mentioned how it is one of the programs that they are planning to roll out. We have oral PrEP that has been in the country for close to 7 years now, right? However, the government has not told us why we don't have that injection yet.
But also poverty and less empowerment of women is another concern that needs to be looked into in the fight against HIV.
The biggest problem is the communities we have who are vulnerable. And in this, we see more of adolescent girls and young women. They are more at risk because of the vulnerabilities relating to lack of employment, lack of money, not being in school, being marginalized by society, and also, of course, gender-based violence, not being, and that's in some societies, not being taken at the same level as their male counterparts. That disadvantages them and puts them at risk of HIV.
Rather than dying of poverty, I'd rather die of HIV/AIDS. So this also, in Uganda it's called Kamanyiro. I think we have got some kind of, we don't take HIV/AIDS as a serious disease now. Many people at least don't. Because when you look at the things they are doing, it's like there's no HIV/AIDS. Multiple partners, young girls with old men with young girls.
Uganda's new infections have stagnated at 52,000 for the past 2 years, and according to Uganda AIDS Commission, the outbreak of COVID-19 also threatened the progress.
For example, from 2010, there were about 138 new infections. We came down, and pre-COVID, actually the number of new infections annually were 38,000. But after the COVID period, we shot up from 38,000 to 53,000. Now, we are actually, yes, that side's unacceptable, but then post-COVID from 53,000, we have gone back to 52,000 new infections. So which means the effect of COVID, you remember very well, if you go to the districts, they'll tell you the teenage pregnancies are high, and you know pregnancy is a measure of the risk to infection, because by the time you get pregnant, then definitely you have had unprotected sex. So that's a proxy indicator. So post-COVID, we now, the reduction is very slow. I think that's where the question is. From 38,000, we jumped to 53,000, and then we're at 52,000. The reduction is very small.
Uganda has an estimated 1.4 million people living with HIV/AIDS. Adia Nakuti and Loreen Masika Kazimoto, UBC.
And of course, this is in commemoration of World AIDS Day, which is tomorrow, the 1st of December, 2023. Now, local government officials and leaders from Karamoja are urging a united front to tackle the escalating rates of child labor in the country. A stakeholder meeting in Kampala, organized by the Uganda National Teachers Union, shed light on various factors, including the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic contributing to the surge in child labor. A detailed report comes your way.
Karamoja sub-region is one of the regions with relatively increasing rates of child labor. During COVID-19 lockdown, many learners got recruited into child labor, mainly in mining, hawking, and grazing cattle. Some engaged in pastoral migration and eventually ended in Kenya as child laborers.
56% of the children are really engaged in exploitative labor. Why? Because these are the reasons why. Because these are the children who are working for their families. I've imagined in Karamoja, some parents could be having even an animal, but it's difficult to sell an animal, either for medical expenses or for poverty-stricken.
In 2022, Uganda National Teachers Union launched the Go Back to School campaign in Karamoja region, which was established that many children who left school had already been indoctrinated into the labor activities. Philbert Baguma says through the project dubbed Work No Child Business was also implemented in other mining sub-counties of Tupac and Rupa in Moroto district.
In the districts of Moroto and Nakapiripirit, the children who are in school are fewer than the school-going children in these areas. And when you go, you will find them in mine.
Karamoja has some privately constructed schools, some of which were built through partnership, but government has since not taken them up on aid.
The teachers are there, the schools are there, the children are there, but the schools have not been taken up by government.
Before 2020, the percentage rate of child labor stood at 14% and 22% after COVID-19 lockdown, with the eastern region suffering most. In Busoga, boys were largely involved in child labor, especially in plantations, while girls suffered child marriages and pregnancies.
During that period, the most outcries were from the sugarcane area. So many girls fell pregnant, actually.
According to Isma Kalanda, the principal labor officer at the Ministry of Gender, the rise in child labor cases has affected the target on elimination of child labor by 2025.
And it is evident that we shall not be able to meet the target.
The current number of children in child labor stands at 6 million across the country. Government will continue with the implementation of the National Framework on Elimination of the Worst Forms of Child Labor. Susan Naonga reporting for UBC TV.
The Omusinga Charles Wesley Mumbere Iremangoma, the cultural leader of Rwenzururu Kingdom, has commended President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni for introducing an industrial hub in Kasese aiming at skilling the youth for socio-economic transformation. While touring the Rwenzori Zonal Presidential Industrial Hub in Kasese, the Omusinga said that giving hands-on skills to the youth will help them create their own jobs in the community.
Ekintu kyeriho kino nainga kisimira kutsebo nga supportinga engulakulana eyangenaleka abantu ebayikusia omubwiru obuna.
The Queen of Buganda, Her Royal Highness Sylvia Najinda Nabagereka, has applauded the leadership of the Conservation Through Public Health Organization for their tireless efforts to integrate the population, health and environment by promoting community-based family planning around Bwindi National Park. While officiating the celebrations of 20 years anniversary, the CTPH in Kampala, Nabagereka, says CTPH is a model of how conservation can be achieved through improving the health and livelihoods of people and wildlife.
Conservation Through Public Health Organization has celebrated its 20th anniversary with great achievements registered in protecting the would-be endangered mountain gorillas in Bwindi National Park.
We've helped to reduce disease transmission from humans to gorillas, working closely with UA, Ministry of Health, Ministry of Agriculture and other NGOs. We've improved hygiene, sanitation and adoption of family planning. It has really liberated the women around Bwindi. They don't have to have a baby every year. They're happy they can do something else with their life.
These achievements were highly commended by the Nabagereka Her Royal Highness Sylvia Najinda, who said that this will go a long way in improving the health and livelihoods of people and the wildlife.
This approach resonates deeply with our work at the Nabagereka Development Foundation and in Sakate, where we strive to empower women, girls and the youth to realize their potential in life. Now, this impactful work, marked by 2 decades of dedicated efforts, has led to CTPH reaching this significant milestone.
In the meeting, a call to integrate village health teams and conservation village health teams was meant to improve on the health services for both people and the wild animals.
What is difficult going into the data sheet and adding the component of environment and conservation? And you have one person collecting all this, and then you know where these data sets will go and be analyzed and used.
So the framework already exists. There are VHTs and Ministry of Health that already exist up to the ground, so that we don't need anything magical to transform. It's just adding that element of conservation and environment, and that can really be driven by the national One Health platform.
All this is evidence that we need integration. And the one-stop center for integration is embedding all these things into policy. So everything is going to go back into policy.
In the same vein, a 5-year strategic plan was officially unveiled by the Nabagereka for conservation through public health.
So let's now take a short commercial break. When we return, we'll be back with more UBC News tonight. Please do not move an inch. Let's go.
Neto Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Jovia ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga ag'ewala ennyo, okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenzeeyo, ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo. Okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa. Jovia, kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli.
Tewali kkumo ku ki ky'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
In the heart of Uganda, a financial revolution is happening. We were once left out, saving the old-fashioned way, with an unexpected saving spot, keeping it too close for comfort. But now, we found a better way to save and manage money. Download the Wendy app from Google Play or App Store or dial *229#. With Wendy, your money is safe and you can earn interest daily. Visit your Google Play or App Store or dial *229# to register. Wendy Wanawoli.
In this family, we can't agree on anything. Martha. We can't even agree on what to watch. All the games to play. Martha. Ndowoza Mulabi, we can't even agree on what to eat. At least the one thing for now we can all agree on is the soap to use. He likes that it's big and lasts long. Anti-economy. I like that it keeps my skin smooth. Ate alina echovu. And the children like that. It smells amazing. Everyone is happy. Movit soap comes in 4 fantastic flavors. Movit family soap is truly soap for the whole family.
Movit. All day confidence.
Sebo.
Yes?
This is the bill.
What?
Malaria testing, 10,000. Treatment, 100,000 since we put on drip.
Hey, Musao, can you read this for me? Before I brought my wife here, I'd already spent money on buying herbal medicine and drugs from the pharmacy, which didn't work.
But Sebo, the government gave out mosquito nets. Doesn't your family use them?
We got the mosquito nets, but they got holes and we didn't know what to do.
Protect your loved ones from malaria. Sew your mosquito nets whenever they get damaged to keep the mosquitoes away. Ensure all nets are tied up every morning to avoid damaging them. Ensure that everyone in your family sleeps under a treated mosquito net every night, whether it is a cold or hot season. Together, we can chase malaria out of Uganda. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from Global Fund.
No malaria will catch.
Welcome back. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight, broadcasting live from Nile Avenue. We now delve into the world of business. Uganda Bureau of Statistics has released the annual Consumer Price Index for the year ended November 2023. The annual inflation, as measured by the Consumer Price Index for the last 12 months to November 2023, is 2.6% compared to 2.4% registered in the year ended October 2023. Let's take a look.
The annual core inflation was recorded at 2.0% in November 2023, the same rate recorded in October 2023. The main driver to the annual core inflation was the annual services inflation that increased to 2.8% in the year ending November 2023 compared to 2.2% registered in the year ended October 2023.
When you look at November and November, these are normally months that are pre the Christmas season. And members, you should bear with me that it's for some items, the prices can start rising as at the beginning of November. And for some items that are not maybe mainly needed, you realize that the prices are actually going down.
The highest inflation was registered in Fort Portal at 5.9% compared to the 4.7% that was recorded in October 2023. Jinja District had the second highest inflation at 4.0% and October was 3.9%. Kampala's middle income group realized the lowest inflation at 1.3%.
Majorly, this was driven by the restaurants and accommodation services inflation that was registered at 3.7% in the year ended November, compared to 1.7% registered for the year ended in October 2023. And members would want to note that November has been a lucrative month for the region, for Jinja. You remember we hosted in Nyege, people buy, and that's the reason we say that you should promote tourism.
The construction sector inflation increased to 2.2% in the year ending October 2023 compared to a 2.0% increase registered in the year ended September 2023. The construction materials whose inflation increased annually include insulated electric cables, among others.
Class demolition and site preparation prices increased under this category of specialized construction activities, and this is mainly driven by diesel. So we must note that the electrical plumbing, we have a slowdown. Building completion and finishing, we have an increase, and the belief is that most of us are trying to renovate our houses as we prepare for the festive season.
Brian Tumwenebiaruhanga, UBC News.
Women entrepreneurs have been urged to digitize their businesses by embracing technology so as to ensure access to wider markets as regards to their products. This call was made during the 10th Annual Women in Business Leaders Conference 2023 organized by the Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association Limited 2023 at Nakawa.
Following the outbreak of COVID-19 2 years ago, which led to a total lockdown worldwide, many sectors of, among others, education, tourism and trade, were put to a standstill, a thing which affected the economy. This brought a realization to the world that various aspects in life can be handled digitally, where we saw schools operating online, and the formal sector embracing Zoom working mechanisms, among others. With this being the trend today, women entrepreneurs have been urged to embrace the digital era of carrying out trade so as to transform their businesses.
Now, it doesn't matter what business you're doing. There's a part of your business that you can digitize, and there's a part that you can improve to be a better business. So don't leave these big data things to big businesses. Think about how this can support your own business.
Time for us to allow women understand we are in the global world and therefore got to get abroad and put our jackets as women aside and embrace the new opportunity that comes with digitalization.
This was during the 10th Annual Women in Business Leaders Conference 2023, organized by Uganda Women Entrepreneurs Association Limited, UWEL, where over 100 business women attended. There is also a fear of women evolving their businesses to formal due to various challenges. However, the need for them to register their businesses so as to capture the international market has been highlighted.
They want you to be registered. If you don't have the USB number, they want to know if the local company has a bank account. How are you doing your banking?
The guest of honor, Ndore Cleopas, on behalf of the State Minister for Trade David Bahati, commended UWEL for the work well done in uplifting the women. He also highlighted that the government is engaged at supporting women not only in trade, but other sectors too.
We are all aware that under the parish development model, the monies which are to be given in the circles, 30% belongs to women. Bring first for women. That is not to say that women cannot really go to the other 70 which is remaining.
Ndore advised all the stakeholders to address the incentive of women in business to go formal, not only urging them to go formal.
I'm not saying we should not formalize. I'm saying we must formalize the incentives. Let's get an intervention where we say once you formalize, you are going to benefit from ABC. We are going to give you free training, customer care.
After the conference, the guests toured some of the stalls, which were showcasing various products done by the women. Rebecca Nantongo, UBC News.
And now let's take a look at the Forex market before we take a look at the sports news.
Bus Industries, Namamve, the manufacturers of buses for transporters, schools, tour operators, and special purpose vans and any customized vehicle. Metu Bus Industries offers a range of buses known for safety, comfort, and reliability. Depending on your needs, a bus can simply be a point A to point B people mover with just seats, or a special design that includes power outlet, Wi-Fi, television, refreshment center, and any other specification. Buy your buses from Metu and support industrialization of Uganda. Contact us on 0788 118586 or 0782 030303. Email us metuafricabus@gmail.com. Visit our website www.metubusafrica.com.
Jovia ng'oyolekera ku lugendo luno olw'obulamu nkuwa ekirabo eky'amaanyi agatazizibwa, amaanyi okulabibwa n'okuwulirwa mu mawanga agewala ennyo okutuuka buli wamu nga yadde togenze eyo ensi yonna ng'ekuli mu ngalo okutambula mu biseera n'okumanya buli kimu ekirina okumanyibwa Jovia kino kye kirabo kyange gy'oli
tewali kkubo ku ki gy'osobola okukola ku mukutu nnandameggwa ogwa MTN.
The Uganda Bureau of Statistics, UBOS, wishes to inform the public that the launch of the National Population and Housing Census 2024 that was earlier planned for the 30th of November 2023 at Kololo Independence Grounds has been rescheduled due to unforeseen circumstances. A new date for the launch will be communicated soon. Any inconvenience caused is highly regretted. Signed by Chris N. Mukiza, the Executive Director, UBOS.
And in the world of sports, the cricket cranes, Uganda's men national cricket team have qualified for the T20 World Cup for the first time after finishing second with 10 points in ICC Men's T20 World Cup Africa Qualifier 2023. The team beat Rwanda by 9 wickets in their final game played at Wanderers Cricket Grounds in Namibia to finish with 5 wins out of 6 matches and qualifying for the T20 World Cup. Joyce Grace Kimigisa with a report.
Coming off a much-needed 33 runs win against Kenya yesterday, the Cricket Cranes only had 1 win standing between them and their World Cup dream. The Cricket Cranes were determined to leave everything on the pitch for their chance to be in the 2024 World Cup. In their final game, played against Rwanda at the Wanderers Cricket Grounds in Windhoek, Namibia, the Cranes won the toss and chose to field first, limiting Rwanda to 65 all-out in 18.5 overs. The second innings was a breeze for Uganda as the team chased the score in 8.1 overs, posting 66 runs for 1 wicket, winning the game by 9 wickets. This sent jubilations and celebrations in the Ugandan dugout. With this win, Uganda completes the tournament with 5 wins from 6 games and second place with 10 points, heading straight to the T20 World Cup. In the Rwanda game, Alpesh Ramjani with 2 wickets for 1 run in 3 overs and Simon Sesazi with 26 runs were the most outstanding players.
I was working hard towards this tournament, and personally for me it's amazing, like what I wanted to do with my own performance personally, and I want to win games for my team and with the ball and with the bat, and that's what I did. And I'm not satisfied yet. I want to do more for the national team. And
for the coach, who has been with the Cranes for a while, says this is not just a milestone but a chance to celebrate Ugandan cricket as they ask for more support to the game.
So I think it's shown that with a little bit of support and with a little bit of effort towards invested in sport, there's rewards that can be reaped. You know, if there's some sort of legislation and support from the government, especially towards sport, and if we're very intentional about it, we can see that sport is not just a leisure activity. It can actually be a business.
History for the Cricket Cranes, history for cricket in Uganda, going to the T20 World Cup for the very first time. What a campaign it has been for the Cricket Cranes, starting off with Tanzania where they registered a win, going on to lose to Namibia in their second game, but then came up strong against their 4 opponents in their last games, winning all games and finishing second with 10 points on the 7-team table, joining Namibia to represent Africa in next year's World Cup. This has been a historical journey for the Cranes, but the work is not yet over. The boys will rest for 1 week before they go to defend their title at the Africa Cricket Association Cup in South Africa, and then embark on a journey to prepare to meet the big dogs in the T20 World Cup 2024. Grace Joyce Kemigisa, UBC News, Windhoek, Namibia.
Speaking with a lot of excitement, very congratulations to the cricket cranes right there, and we'll be seeing you in South Africa also, Joyce Kemigisa. Thank you very much. Now, the Federation of Uganda Football Association has also hosted its annual Women Football Bonanza. The colorful occasion at Sheraton Hotel in Kampala was on the theme of football, a vehicle for national development and transformation. Let's have a look.
Women football in Uganda has gone through several transformations and has truly become prominent during the era of Moses Magogo.
She insisted that we will increase the funding for football and ensure that all women national teams participate in international competition.
This period has culminated into playing at continental level on top of active women leagues in Uganda and players at top international clubs. This then called for a celebration that has been witnessed at the annual Women Football Bonanza at Sheraton Hotel, Kampala. The Bonanza, achieved courtesy of sponsors like Uganda Breweries Limited, run on the theme of football, a vehicle for national development and transformation.
Today we're here celebrating women in sports. And this is very important for us at Guinness because we as a brand seek to support creatives in different spaces, creatives and sports people. We have a campaign called Black Shines Brightest, and that's what we do in this campaign. We recognize, we reward, we work with people in those spaces.
Other topics discussed included women's football and empowerment path to gender equality, women's football and social cohesion and strategies for increasing participation and support.
But I want to say this, without a man, women we are nothing. So men, I want to ask you to support women. We need your support. I want to tell you, if you want girls in football, you have to convince the men to let their girls be supported in football.
Excellent performers for Uganda, like the first female referee in East Africa, Catherine Adipo, were applauded for performances that not only elevated their statuses, but also highlighted Uganda as a nation.
Total of 6 Roy Agabude,
Sudat Kaye and Vincent Wamundu.
And that brings us to the end of our 8 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight. Thank you very much for being a lovely audience. Up next, we're going to be having a program that is very popularly known, hosted by our own Sophie, and it's going to be focusing on ending AIDS by 2030, keeping communities at the center. Do enjoy that program as you wait for the 10 o'clock edition of the UBC News Tonight.